You're listening to the 100 Proof Southern Rock Podcast with Sam Morrison, the place to discover the new bands that are keeping Southern Rock alive and kicking. Our guest for today, Sons of Liberty. All right, guys, this is the very first edition of 100 Proof Southern Rock Podcast, and I am so excited today. We've got Sons of Liberty. These guys I'm huge fans, and you know what? I wore my Sons of Liberty t-shirt because I wanted to show them how much of a fan that I am. And they're all wearing Sam Morrison Band and 100 Proof Southern Rock t-shirts. So it's the mutual admiration society going on here right from the start. Oh, cool deal. Well, you know what? So a little bit of introduction. You guys are a Southern rock band from England, but at least it's Southern England, right?
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we're South Wales and Southern England. Yeah, so a couple of the guys are from over the bridge into Wales, but yeah, we're definitely in the southern part of the UK.
Okay, well that's awesome. So Southern rock in England. I mean, you guys have been together since 2014. You were doing like Southern rock covers up until 2018, and then you started your recording. Tell me a little bit about how the band started and kind of those early days.
Yeah, cool. So I go.
He's going to talk a lot anyway.
So 2014, I think I just bought a guitar, driving up to Birmingham in the Midlands, Birmingham, as you guys would say. Freddie tagged along in the van to pick the guitar up, and while we were on the way back, a whole bunch of Southern rock cool stuff came out of the iPod that we were listening to on the way back, and we just sort of looked at each other and thought we should put a band together to play this stuff, you know. So it was Blackfoot, it was Skinner, it was Allman Brothers, it was a couple of left field things as well, but that's basically where the band started. So kind of, you know, it's our fault. And then we reached out to the guys. Now we all know each other because we've all played in bands going back, 10 years or more in Bristol. So I think we've all played with each other at least in one band or another prior to this.
Okay.
So I just got on the phone and, do you fancy doing these crazy Blackfoot songs? And everybody kind of like joined in, and that's kind of where it started.
Oh, that's awesome. So in those early days, you were doing like clubs and that sort of thing. I mean, is there a demand for Southern rock over there? I mean, what kind of gigs were you guys getting?
Yeah, well, I mean, what kind of happened was there's been a resurgence in classic rock generally, all types of classic rock. And I think it's the age group thing. People that grew up with it are now getting out to clubs and seeing bands again, enjoying buying music again. And at the same time, some of the US bands have started to come over and tour over here. Bands like Cadillac 3, Blackberry Smoke,
Blackstone Cherry.
The heavier bands. Skinny Molly were coming over as well, bands like the small ones. And they were getting a really good audience, getting a good reception, getting some radio play. And we'd already sort of started doing this, so we hit it really well.
Yeah.
There's good demand. So we got lots of work, mainly in the kind of local area. We weren't travelling too far until we started doing our own music.
Yeah, and for that kind of music, other than the headliners, you guys were probably the only game in town, right?
But the heavier, yeah.
Yeah. There's a few other ones out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
But they're doing a slightly different type of version. We've got the outdoor orchestra. They're a little bit more bluegrass. So, they're starting to come through. There's another band called the Bootyard Bandits. They're another band. And it's good because they're bringing it to a bigger audience as well, Sam, which is really helpful.
Oh, great. Well, that's kind of the whole reason I even started this podcast, and I started the Facebook group that kind of spawned this whole thing, is just that fact that like there's Southern rock is a thing that everybody loves. And just like you said, why isn't anybody playing this? And I'm like, well, somebody's got to still be playing it. It's too good not to. And so my search for new bands is kind of what spawned the podcast and everything. And that's how I found out about you guys. And I think it's nothing but a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, we've been so lucky. I mean, as Freddie said, the kind of scene in the UK was just taking off just as we came together. And then a couple of really cool groups of people, mainly Facebook groups, kind of got together to start pushing new music from new bands here in the UK. And so again, we looked in big time. You know, we latched onto that. They latched onto us. And you know, there was 15,000 members in that new wave of classic rock group on Facebook. And, you know, a few of those guys have you know, they like us, which we're fortunate. They like Southern rock for a start. So, you know, they've done some podcasts and some live gigs more recently during the lockdown situation, you know. So, but those guys really helped us when we made the transition from just being a sort of a small-time cover band doing cool songs to doing our own stuff. You know, we wrote the first original songs, which were on the Shinola EP that we released back in early 2018. And all of a sudden, those songs were going down, you know, as good or better in some cases than some of the covers we were playing. So that was really encouraging to set us off on the kind of journey that we've been on kind of since then, I guess.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, yeah, and you guys actually put out 2 EPs in the same year. You guys were working it hard.
Yeah, it's kind of an album in 2 halves, really.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't written together before, obviously. We played together with various bands, as Lou said. And we just happened had a bit of a break. We had a few song ideas and we worked them up. And it just went so well that we couldn't wait really to get it out. And we didn't really, we went in the studio to record a demo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the idea, but it ended up being the Shinola EP. And then, because almost as soon as we finished it, we carried on writing.
Yeah.
And we couldn't wait to get back in. It had such a good reaction. And we went back in and spent a little bit more time doing the Aged in Oak EP, the second one. So, but it's, kind of, you can almost run them together.
Yeah, you guys, as I said, you guys were working hard during that period. One of the things that I kind of noticed when it comes to Southern rock bands, and this is something I think I heard it somewhere. I don't think I'm smart enough to think of it on my own, but Southern rock, like a lot of different music, has its own subgenres, kind of. Because like when you listen to the Allman Brothers, that's like a Southern rock blues band. When you listen to Leonard Skinner, that's a Southern rock band. Marshall Tucker's kind of a Southern rock country band. I would say Molly Hatchet would be a Southern rock hard rock band. And when I listen to you guys, there is no doubt whatsoever that you are Southern rock. But there is definitely a sort of a metal edge to what you guys are doing. I mean, it's almost like if Motley Crue came from Jacksonville. That's kind of, I hear kind of that in some of the stuff you're doing. So you said you've been playing in bands all along. Were you guys playing metal at one time, or what was your early stuff that you were doing?
Yeah, well, me and Moose were playing in an 80s sort of tribute band. So like Judas Priest and Sax, that business. So that sort of influence comes back to us when we go out and write the songs.
And that's where I came on.
Cozy Powell here.
Yeah, their drummer left, so they co-opted me in, and so I played with Marky in the covers band. I also played in a Metallica tribute band.
Oh,
as well as yeah, and then also Bram Stoker's doing what I call it, Dream Theater type stuff and all that sort of weird stuff, as well as then played blues for 17 years.
Okay.
So I've been a right tartan slut. But about a bit.
Well, yeah, I could definitely hear the metal influence. I knew that it was in there somewhere. And again, when you listen to your music, there's no doubt that it's Southern. I mean, it's just dripping with barbecue sauce. It's Southern. But
we're trying to put a bit more on.
Barbecue sauce. Yeah, but yeah, we're not on the country side. We're definitely on the rock side, the hard rock side.
Yeah, and watching the videos too. You guys are an energetic band. I mean, you know, Rob's all over the place. You guys are. I mean, it's a pumping show. I can't wait and I hope I get the chance to come see you guys live sometime.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who sat down.
Awesome. All right. Well, another thing I wanted to ask you about it. Okay, let's move on from those early days. Let's talk about the Animism album. I've got the cover of the album. I'm gonna show up here on the screen for just a second. This is quite an interesting cover. It being almost Halloween time, it kind of like brings all kinds of that sort of stuff to mind. But what's the story behind the cover of that? What is animism to you guys, and what was kind of the concept behind that?
Yeah, we came up with the title in the studio whilst we were recording it, so we didn't have it before we went in. And we'd had one of our. We tend to. We're not very well behaved for our age.
We were very drunk. Yeah, you know, the odd Jack Daniels or four or how many bottles?
I mean, the concept of it is an animism itself. It really stems from probably Rob's interest. We can talk a bit more in, and that we've all kind of latched onto a little bit in the Native American indigenous peoples and the plight. Yeah, on Shiloh we did The Brave, which is a song about the Trail of Tears and everything. And the philosophy, it's not like a religion, isn't it? It's the shamanism.
Yeah.
That all things are connected. And I think...
Everything's got spirit.
Yeah, there's a spirit in the rocks and the trees and the sky and the animals and the plants. And we thought with the way the world is and you know, we're kind of destroying the planet ourselves. So it was a little bit of a kind of spiritualist moment. We're not particularly wedded to it, but we just thought that was a nice concept. And animism is the spiritualism of everything having a spirit, everything having a soul, which is what the Native American people believe.
So the cover of the album, came absolutely from that. You know, we're in the studio recording the album at the time. We're sat around having a few drinks. I think Freddie came up with Animism as a name, and we all kind of went, hold on a minute, get on the laptop. What does that mean? up popped this cool picture, and it's some woman in Poland that had actually taken the photograph. So again, we hooked up, we sent her a message and said, could we buy the rights to the photograph and use that for the cover? Because it just seemed to somehow connect automatically from a discussion to a title to a photograph while we were there actually recording the album at the time, So the whole thing about spiritual connection somehow, it was happening in the room at that very time, So
nothing to do with the whiskey.
different spirit.
Oh man. Well, that's really. I really was hoping that it was Rob underneath that mask.
Well, it can be. I did think about going out on stage like that, but I don't think it'd be a good idea.
Well, as I was watching some of your videos, I was also noticed that Rob, your mic stand is covered with feathers and leather and kind of it and you've got that one stick that's kind of a shaman looking stick. Did you do any of that before this album, or was that kind of a tie-in to the record?
I think I've always looked at music sound as something that people want to watch and not only listen to, and I'm a great fan of the old people. I don't know whether you've heard of any of these people, but certainly Alex Harvey. He was a theatrical type of front man, and they always left a great impression on me. And I thought, well, if we can adapt something into the show that is watchable, then I think it's just an extra step that no one else is doing at the moment.
Right.
So all the things I bring onto the stage, I use. That's a jingling stick I bring, and it's something that you just bash on, and it's got all the symbols on it. So I didn't just want to take a symbol on. I wanted to do something a little bit different. I actually took a washboard on once, and I don't think it went down too well, so I left that. All the symbols came off my hand, so I couldn't play it properly.
It's littered. The stage is littered with bottle tops and stuck in your shoes.
Stuck in the bottom of your boots. Yeah. Come the end of the night, everybody's like tap dancers.
But the mic stand I had made for me, it's an iron. It's very heavy. I've got a very bad reputation of breaking mic stands, I'm afraid.
But now he breaks the floor.
So I commissioned a guy to make it for me. It's all bent and everything. I like feathers. I've always liked feathers. I got feather tattoos and everything. So I thought I'll take it with feathers. And people really. It's quite nice because they see it and they know it's the Sons of Liberty.
Right.
Before we go on. So they see that and they go, yeah, this is it. You know, it just adds to the spectacle of the show.
Oh, exactly, and it does. I mean, and looking at the album cover, like I said, it tied right into that. As soon as I saw it, it's like, okay, this is part of the package. And yeah, I thought that was really, really, really cool.
Well, I'm a great fan of North American Indians. My hobby is their history, so I looked a lot into it. I base my how can I say? I would say my character on that type of music as well. And, I've always liked that type of history.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, we had a chance to we played in Fort Smith, Arkansas, where the end of the Trail of Tears was. And it was just, you just feel it while you're there. I mean, just everything that happened. It's kind of a magical place in and of its own because of just the heartbreak and just the drama of what that was all about.
That must have been really cool.
Yeah. Okay, so the songwriting process for Animism. I noticed that a lot of these songs are about people. Old Soak Joe, Snake Hip Slim, Marvin Popcorn Sutton, Tumbleweed. Are these real actual people, or are these characters that you're kind of put together?
I write most of the lyrics. We write all the songs together, but I just put the lyrics down. I'm a great believer in. I don't like fiction sound, so I like to sing about real things.
Okay.
It's important. They're all based on real people. Popcorn Sutton, as you know, is a guy based in Tennessee making his moonshine. And he's a well-known character over with you guys there. And the other people are based around, believe it or not, Snake Hip Slim was actually based on a guy in the north of England who was a DJ. And he just reminded me of a snake when he actually decided, I wrote that and based it around an American type of theme. And all the other songs are more or less the same. Also, Joe was based on a drunk that I used to have to deal with in the pub that I used to run at one time.
Okay.
So and the stories are real. You know what I say in them are real. So I like singing about the real things, and I think it touches people's souls a little bit. That's the most important thing for me.
Oh, it did. The first time I heard Old Soak Joe, I was just like, I could see the whole thing taking place. Yeah. I mean, and I could just feel that was probably from a real experience, not just a story.
Absolutely. And like Fool's Gold on one of the EPs was based on the South Wayne coal miners going over to America during the gold rush. Mm. Some of my ancestors went over, and we went to the Cripple Creek where they worked, and we found their
graveyard.
Yeah, the graveyard where they were based, where they were buried, and it just brings back a lot of history of the Welsh miners going over to America in the 1800s.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. The other songs on the album, I love the whole record. And if people haven't heard the early stuff too, I mean, all of it's good. You've got a playlist on Spotify that's like every song you've done, and just get that playlist because it's all great. Again, for me, my favorite song that you guys have done, Rich Man, Poor Man, Beggar Man, Thief. That's my pick of the bunch. But,
yeah, we saw you doing it as well.
It's my favorite song that you've done.
There you go. Yeah, I'm like, I was hoping I was going to do it justice. I'm like, these guys are going to actually watch me do their song, and I hope I don't screw it up.
Yeah, you did well.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
We come over.
What else? Okay, so like, you guys, this COVID thing is actually for all bands. It's kind of been a real pain. And you guys have still been kind of doing some stuff over there, though. The WebFest. Talk about that and some of the things that you're doing to get around COVID.
Yeah, we've been really lucky that we've been able to do a couple of video shoots and a couple of our videos. Yeah, we did some video editing of some footage that have been shot from the sort of last gigs we did back in, I don't know, January, February time. And those really kept the buzz going via the social media channels for us, so that was really lucky. But the new wave of classic rock group that I mentioned earlier, they're up to, what are they doing now? WebFest 4. Yeah. So they've done 4 full day events where they've had 18, 20 bands play across the day. Might have even been the whole weekend. I think 2 days. Yeah. So So we were lucky enough to be on 1 and 3. We got featured on those with the first time round with some sort of rehashed older stuff that we managed to pull together, and then the second time was a specific set that we shot in a club nearby to where we lived that helped us put something together for it. So and those have been really good, and people donate a bit of money as well, so we actually got paid for doing those things, you know. So so that was really cool. And then of course merchandise goes mad, you know. People buying T-shirts for the whole of the next week. I'm walking up and down to the post office all the time, you know. So
he was 6'7" before.
There's a worn out path between my house and the post office.
He's got a carpet now.
And then of course right in the middle of that we were doing the vinyl version of Animism as well. So so as well as all the excitement from those kind of online things, all of a sudden there was something really cool to purchase as well, you know. So we did 100 on orange vinyl, and we got about 150 on black vinyl with gatefold sleeve and stuff, and that's been really fantastic. You know, the support that the guys mainly from online have given us since we've sort of completed those couple of projects have been absolutely brilliant.
That's great. Yeah, I saw that you sold out of all the orange vinyl already. That I was so excited that happened. When you guys came up with the idea of vinyl, is that something that the fans were asking for, or did you just like take a shot and see what was going to happen?
Yeah, a few fans had asked for vinyl. It's got popular again. I guess it has in the States. It certainly has over in Europe. And so people, I think vinyl sales outstripped CDs this year for the first time again. So there's a lot of people playing vinyl. And I think we kind of wanted it as well because we grew up with vinyl.
Yeah.
And so we had the chance to do it. A few people had asked for it, and we were a bit nervous because
it's quite an investment.
And getting the artwork done and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, we sold out in the pre-sale. We sold out the orange vinyl.
Still got a black aren't going too bad, are
you? Yeah. So it's just worked out really well. So yeah, we're pleased. We'll do that for the next one. So yeah, it was good. And it kept Luke busy. Kept his weight down.
Well, that's so. That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, vinyl is kind of making a comeback over here. It's kind of coming back everywhere, and I think it's people kind of in our age group too that it's a thing. I mean, because you can always record yourself on a tape or burn a CD, but when you drop a needle on that vinyl, that's something that not everybody can do, and there's a magic to that. I think that I've not done vinyl yet, but it's going to be. I think the next record we may try to do that.
Yeah, it's worth doing. I mean, we had to get a remaster done specifically for the vinyl. We had to get the track order worked out so the whole side A, side B thing worked properly as well. So we had to put a bit of thought into it, and then, like Freddie said, all of the artwork had to be kind of recut so that it worked at the bigger scale as well. Which is really cool, and so far the feedback's been tremendous. So I'm really glad we put the time and effort into that and the money as well.
That's great. Okay, so this album was actually released on Roulette Records. Is that a company over there? Is that your own label? How does that work?
Yeah, no, they're a company. We hooked up with them. Well, we started off hooked up with them for a bit of management.
Yeah.
Really, we claimed. Have you heard of Rambling Man Fair? No, you won't have done. It's a kind of big. One of the big outdoor festivals over here, but it's always been good for the sort of southern rock side. It's had a mixture of heavier rock and southern rock, and it's quite a big deal. And we were in a competition to try and play at the Rambling Man Fair, and we met one of the people from Roulette and really got on well with her. And then when the album was coming out, they also had a management and a record company side. So we put it out through them. They're an independent, small record company.
And it is just a licensing deal as well, So we've basically committed to them for Animism, and then we're not on the hook for anything going forwards. We can kind of do what we want with the next album, So I think the relationship was mutually quite good, at the time, and we'll kind of see what happens going forwards with once we get in the studio and get the next album out.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's got to help getting into those festivals and stuff too. And I see you guys play quite a few of those, and I'm jealous.
That started. Sorry, I'm talking too much. That started at something called Giants of Rock, which is a festival at Holiday Park in the UK, in Somerset on the coast. And they have sort of legend bands, so bands like Sweet.
Doris the Dog played there. How Molly Hatchet played there.
Yeah. So they get some bigger bands, but they also have an introduction stage. And we were lucky enough to get a slot on the introduction stage. And that was really, it just kicked up for us from there.
Yeah.
Just that one festival.
Yeah.
You get in front of a lot of people, and they vote for you to come back and play one of the main stages, which we did this year before the COVID lockdown.
Yeah.
And the chance to play a big stage, probably about 1,200 people, which for us is an exceptionally big audience. And also we, from that, other things come. We played at there's a Planet Rock Radio over here, which is the biggest rock radio station. Yeah. And they run their own events as well. And we Andy had sorted that out for us. We got to play at that festival. So those festivals really get you in front of a lot of people, and it makes a world of difference.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
That just means Moose has to go to the post office a lot more often when you play those shows.
He does nothing else.
Oh, very cool. I've got a couple more questions. These are just kind of fun, off the wall kind of questions that I wanted to hit you guys with. And again, I am so excited that you guys are the first guests here on the podcast. You guys are the coolest, and I love the music. It's amazing.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking. Personally, I'm looking forward to this one song you've written on the new album. This one song.
What song is that?
I don't know. You won't let me. You won't. Well, I want to hear it because apparently it blows anything out of the water you've done before. So
that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you this much. The name of the song is going to be the name of the album. The name of the song is Unfinished Business.
Oh, I already like it. Already like it.
Yeah, so you guys are working on your own record. If you come out with an Unfinished Business song, I'm going to know where it came from.
It's a full one.
But yeah, we're excited about that one. But okay, here's my questions. Every band, when you go out on the road, there's things, there's stories, things that happen, things you can talk about, and things you can't.
They're all very well behaved.
Is there one story that you could think of that you can talk about, something crazy that happened to you on the road?
Yeah, well, I can think of one. We were travelling up a motorway, heading to
I know the one.
heading to a town that is very popular. It's a town where Def Leppard come from, Sheffield. We were going to do a festival there, and this motorway is one of the biggest motorways in England. Travelling up in three of us. No, there was two vans, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And these two always travel together.
Sat nav.
These two, sat nav.
I'm the driver. I fall asleep.
And they run two sat navs. One's got one going, the other one's got another one going. And we were travelling up to the main town in that area.
That was the O2, wasn't it?
And they turned off and went in a totally different direction. And once you get off the motorway, there's no getting back on the motorway.
Oh no!
And I said, well, where are they going? And they said, oh, we're going to, where are you going?
Rotherham.
I was like, why? Totally different direction.
Yeah.
And I thought we'd lost them. We were heading for this festival. I thought, that's it. We're not going to see them again until later.
36 miles later, I still had a hangover.
Yeah, so it's not very rock and roll story, but yeah, I mean, I guess at our age, we've all got partners and families and other halves and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and they're normally with us as well. So they kind of keep us in line a little bit. So But yeah, we get
except for the drinking at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
We get to have a bit of fun. I mean, that's why the studio especially was a bit of a let the hair down moment, because
chaos.
Yeah, it was residential, so we were actually staying in the studio, and of course once the work was done for the day, we were on a few drinks at that point, so the old Dixie whiskey came out,
I mean, the first time in the studio, second time, Mark broke his own bed.
Oh yeah.
It was a twin room. I broke the bed. I woke up with the bed at an angle, waking up wondering why I didn't get any other bed.
We still haven't worked out how he broke it on his own.
It must have been one of those.
He was in there on his own. We don't know how he broke it. So.
I think the other good one about Sam, I think it's because of our age, we're a lot older than other bands. So when we go to these festivals, they look at us and go, well, why are they on the bill?
Yeah.
Why are these guys in the wood? We don't know who they are. This is certainly earlier on. And we would go on, and they would turn around and say, are we supposed to follow that?
Yeah.
So I think we look like a bunch of granddads. But we rock. Yeah. And I think that comes as a bit of a surprise sometimes.
You guys definitely rock. There's no doubt about that. Okay, one last question. Let's say that in some magical land, something could happen and you could do a concert with you and 2 other bands of all time. It could be anybody. What would be your dream show with you and 2 other bands? Who would the other bands be?
Individually? Oh, no, we'd have to come up with something.
Skinner would have to be one.
Yeah. Skinner,
the original Skinner.
Blackfoot for me. Skinner and Blackfoot.
The original Skinner, yeah.
Ooh, it's either Blackfoot or Molly Hatchet then to add to that. So
the original Molly Hatchet as well. Yeah.
That's all then, yeah.
We like a couple of new guys out there at the moment. Preacher's Stone we like.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, that'd be cool. We'd love to do something like... We'd love to come over and play in America. That's one of our ambitions, to be honest with you. We've got quite a strange following in Michigan. I don't know why, but we've got a quite large following in Michigan. And I think this because the state's a little bit different. There's pockets of fans everywhere, basically. Yeah. But, any chance we get to play with you guys would be good as well. So I'm not creeping here. I'm not creeping.
That Southern Rock cruise that takes place around, goes out of Florida somewhere and goes to the Bahamas or what have you. I mean, that something like that would be really cool.
Because apply for that, haven't we?
You sort of see the bands playing, and then a mixture of a couple of guys from one band play with another band, and the whole thing is obviously captive audience on some great big cruise ship. So something like that would be really cool if we could break into that kind of market somehow. But to be honest, for us getting to mainland Europe is going to be a struggle enough, let alone getting across the Atlantic to America. So
that's.
You never know. We keep our fingers crossed.
So to answer the question, the Sam Morrison band number 1, obviously. Then Skinner, maybe.
Maybe Skinner. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are great. Is there anything else that you guys want to say or you want anybody to know about before we cut off here?
No, I mean we're in the studio. We're writing again, and we're well into writing now for the next album. So we'll be in the studio in December to record that. So look out for that
early next year.
Yeah. Obviously, we'll send it over to you, Sam. And just to say to everyone everyone that follows the 100% Southern Rock and everyone over in the States, thanks so much for taking any interest in us whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's really humbling, and we really appreciate it.
Really appreciate the energy there, Fred.
And thanks for all you do.
Oh, well, no worries, man. Well, thank you guys. I mean, we love you guys. It's if there's ever anything I can do to make the thing where we play together, I really want that to happen. I think that would be great.
That'd be amazing. You come over here, that'd be right. Because Southern Rock is huge in Europe. It's bigger in Europe than anywhere else.
Yeah.
There's Czechoslovakian Southern Rock bands. There's French rock bands. There's Greek rock Southern Rock bands.
That's what I'm finding out.
Yeah. So it's a vibrant area at the moment, and they would accept anybody coming over and playing in Germany or any of these places.
Yeah.
So it's something perhaps we can look forward to in the future. We never know. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Hopjaw came over, didn't they, year before last?
Hopjaw, yeah.
We saw them. Yeah, I know you spoke to Hopjaw.
Yeah, those guys in Hogjaw are great guys. They got great music too.
Oh yeah. So, they came over and toured over here.
Mainly Europe, but they did a couple of UK gigs, kind of on the back of being in the neighbourhood, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see them. They played Bristol next, I think we went to see them in our hometown. It was really cool to
lucky individuals.
to catch up with those guys. So
I was in London, except for when they played in London. I was then in Bristol.
So thanks for all the support, interest, and the love that comes over from the States. Is really, really humbling, and it is really, really appreciated.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm going to have all the links to all your websites and your all that stuff in the show notes when we put this thing up. And again, thank you guys so much for everything, and we look forward to that next record.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. So that's going to do it for our very first 100 Proof Southern Rock podcast. I want to thank Sons of Liberty for taking the time to hang out with us. Had such a great time talking to them. Those guys are awesome. Also want to thank you guys for watching the interview and for helping me build this thing that I'm trying to put together. Again, I want to have a community of 100 Proof Southern Rock fans that just love the music, that keep this stuff alive and keep it rolling. My plan is to keep on, I don't know if it's going to be once a week or once every other week or whatever, but I'm going to be interviewing these new Southern Rock bands and letting you guys know about them so that we can go out, listen to them, support these bands, and keep Southern Rock alive and kicking. Sonsofliberty.com. That's the website for these guys. Make sure you go check that out. Check out their swag. They still got some vinyl left if you guys want to pick up some of that. And especially in these times during COVID, whenever there's, we can't gig anymore right now. So anything that you guys can do to help support the bands through their websites and through their virtual shows and that kind of stuff is always a good thing. But I'm excited. I think this is a good start for a whole lot of cool stuff. I'm going to be putting all this stuff up on YouTube. I'm going to be making it into an audio podcast. That's still in the works. And I'm hoping that it grows like crazy. And I really, I hope you guys dig it. And I hope you'll help me spread the word, tell other people about it, have them come and join the group, and let's get this out. Again, I didn't know if you guys knew that you could invite people to be in the group, but make sure that you let people know about it. Facebook.com/groups, 100 Proof Southern Rock, and that'll get them in. We pretty much accept everybody as long as they've got an actual real account and they care about what we're doing. So invite your friends and let's build this thing up. And thank you guys so much for everything that you're doing to help us put this thing together and keep Southern Rock alive and kicking. And again, I'm Sam Morrison, Sam Morrison Band, and thank y'all so much. We'll see you on the next one.